Syracuse basketball recruiting is on the rise after securing its third commitment in the class of 2025.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And on today's mini podcast, that's right, we're doing an emergency mini podcast because we got the news not too long ago today that Syracuse basketball has landed its third commitment in the class of 2025. That's right, 6'6" combo guard Luke Fennell out of Australia. He joins 5-star forward Sadiq and 3-star forward Aaron Womack in Syracuse's 2025 class. We're going to go over the commitment himself, his stats in Australia. We're going to go over a scouting report and talk about the effect on the 2025 class. Man, I'm pumped for this mini podcast because it's always nice when Syracuse gets a commitment. No matter what sport, it's always great to get a recruit into our hands, right? Luke Fennell out of Australia in the class of 2025. Now, I will note this, that because he is from Australia, overseas, he doesn't necessarily have that star rating, so I can't be like he's a 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star, but that's why I will give you guys a scouting report and his stats over in Australia. Before we get to that, this is according to 24/7 Sports' Mike McAllister. Fennell chose Syracuse over Florida, Louisville, St. Bonaventure, among other schools, so there was pretty healthy competition for him. Glad Syracuse was obviously able to come out on top. Fennell said, quote, "Committing to Syracuse was the most seamless process. The fit felt right from the very first conversation." And funny enough, Luke Fennell, according to the article from Mike McAllister, he had never even stepped foot on the Syracuse campus, but that just shows the relationship that he built with the staff over this past month. That's what it said on there. And it's great. It's great to get another recruit, third commit in the class of 2025. And you can't deny that Syracuse basketball recruiting is on the rise. Now, I told you I would get to his stats, and his stats are quite impressive. Luke Fennell in Australia's NBL league, which I believe is the top pro league over in Australia and one of the better leagues around the world, right? There are more pro leagues in basketball besides the NBA. Obviously, the NBA is the big one that we all know, but there's plenty of others. Australia's NBL league is no slouch. Luke Fennell averaged 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 52% shooting, 40% three-point shooting, and he did this in about 25 minutes of play last season. Those numbers sound good to you, right? Or they sound good to me. They should sound pretty good to you. If he were to become that at Syracuse, I think we'd all be very, very happy. I'm just happy right now. This is awesome. This is great news. We'll get to the scouting report in a moment, but the big news, not too long ago, maybe about an hour ago from when I'm actually releasing this, Syracuse basketball gets his third commit in the class of 2025. Luke Fennell out of Australia joining Sadiq and Aaron Womack. And you can't deny it, Syracuse basketball recruiting is on the rise. Coming up, we'll give a scouting report and the effect on the 2025 class. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. And that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. And you can post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And let's talk about Syracuse football for a second before we get back to the news about Syracuse basketball getting its third commit in the class of 2025. The Orange are 6.5-point underdogs at Pitt on Thursday night. The line has moved a full point in favor of Pitt over the past 24 hours. It might be because Trevor Pena is not going to play for Syracuse football. That's not very good news. We're going to break it actually down later on in the day, so stick around for that. Syracuse's money line is currently at plus 172. We're road underdogs once again, just like it was for UNLV. And guess what? Syracuse still managed to win that game. Hopefully, it's the same outcome. You can check those odds out over at FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com. Once again, Syracuse basketball recruiting is on the rise after securing its third commit in the class of 2025 and 6'6" combo guard Luke Fennell out of Australia. I told you guys a little bit of his numbers over in the NBL last season. Now it's time to get to a scouting report for Luke Fennell. Once again, there's no star rating for him because he is over in Australia, but here's what 24/7 Sports' Travis Branham had to say, and I'll paraphrase what he said. Fennell is a big guard, not the most athletic, but he is very skilled, has a high IQ, can score at all three levels, and is a good playmaker. But here's arguably the most important point of what he said. He can make an immediate impact and has the potential to be a starter for years to come. Now, that's music to my ears. I don't know the star rating for him, but if you're telling me that he could potentially be in the rotation next season and be a multi-year starter, I think we'll all certainly take that. Once again, that is coming from 24/7 Sports' Travis Branham talking about the commitment of Luke Fennell. Now, gave you guys the scouting report. What is the effect on the other possible recruits in the class of 2025? Well, good news. According to Mike McAllister, this is not really going to impact the recruiting of guys like Kiyan Anthony and Alex Constanza. Cuse is really in phenomenal shape right now to have an elite 2025 recruiting class. They already got 3 players in the boat. I have said that maybe 1,000 times already on this podcast. They got 3. And over the summer, we talked about what was the over-under for Syracuse basketball in their 2025 class. How many guys would they get? And I probably would have said either 3.5 or 4. Well, they're already at 3. They already have 3. They're the favorite for 4-star Kiyan Anthony still. They're still the favorite for him. It seems like it's now really a 2-horse race between Syracuse and USC, but Syracuse is still considered to be the main front runner for him. Then you got 5-star Alex Constanza. We talked about him on the podcast a couple of days ago, right? He recently had a visit. There's buzz that he could reclassify to 2025. And if he were to reclassify, that Syracuse could certainly be a destination. I don't know if they're the favorite or not, but seems like from what I'm hearing and from what I'm reading, they're in good shape for him. So that's good news, right? 4-star Asher Elson. He's also visiting Syracuse this month. He spoke about it with Jamie Shaw a couple days ago. So Syracuse basketball recruiting, getting its third commit in Luke Fennell in the class of 2025, you already have a very nice foundation. A 5-star in Sadiq White, a 3-star in Aaron Womack, Luke Fennell out of Australia. That's nice. You got a good foundation. Now let's add a little bit more. And I think they can. Kiyan Anthony, Alex Constanza, Tyler Jackson, right? Tyler Jackson, a 4-star who's best buddies with Kiyan Anthony. Asher Elson. The possibilities for Syracuse's class of 2025 seem very, very good. There's a lot of potential here. So overall, let's just let Coach Autry cook, right? Let Autry cook. Now, as far as what is coming up on the podcast in the coming hours and the coming days, well, coming up tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going over the Trevor Pena injury for Syracuse football, which is not so great news. We're going to start off that episode talking about how the injury itself affects the passing game. Under the radar players who could step up in the absence of Trevor Pena. Hopefully it's not a long-term concern, right? Hopefully it's just for one game. And to cap it off, here's the optimistic part. Syracuse football, in my opinion, they have enough firepower to overcome the injury against Pitt tomorrow night. So I'll break that down in literally just a couple of hours. It's going to be released to you all. And then tomorrow, well, we got Pull Friday on a Thursday. That's going to come out in the morning. I'm going to record that pretty soon after this. And then ACC squad as well. I actually forgot to tease it in the episode that's coming up in a couple hours, but ACC squad, I believe, is going to be released at 5 p.m. Eastern. Nice little pregame coverage of Syracuse and Pitt on there. You love the ACC squad. It's coming out 5 p.m., I think, tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that as well. All right. Syracuse basketball gets its third commit in the class of 2025 just moments ago in Australian 6'6" combo guard Luke Fennell. Awesome foundation now for Syracuse basketball's 2025 class. Now it's really about, can they add more? Can they get Kiyan Anthony, Alex Constanza, Asher Ellison, Tyler Jackson, Sean Abayev, even for that matter, right? Can they get even more in this 2025 class? I have faith that they can. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this video, click that like button. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you know right away when I am dropping the next podcast. And I'll see you all in just a couple hours.